Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the HR Breakout Room. It's been a while, life has been happening, but we're so happy to be here. If it's your first time, again, my name is Oyinkan and I'm here with Esther, and we have a special guest. She was one of the first people that we interviewed when we used to have the videos back in the day, and it's so good to have her here. She kind of paved the way as well for us in consulting HR, and it's so good to have her.
But first, what are we wearing? It's been so long, I think we literally almost forgot that we have to showcase our amazing Nigerian designers. So this is Otiti Obuba. Please, nobody will take another person's glory. So this is Otiti Obuba. We will leave her name in the comment section. And Ivy, who are you tattooing?
Well, so I got my henna at the henna place. I got my braids at Shomaya in Lekki.
Really nice. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't wear any made in Nigeria, but subsequently.
I'm eyeing your hair, so I'll be there
Pretty.
soon.
I like the color.
And I'm wearing Aqua Africa, so if you don't know, it's my brand. It's new, so please get
As
into our
per
DMs.
Patronizes herself by herself.
Yes, yeah. If you don't support yourself, who will?
I like it. Absolutely. Be your own cheerleader. Today, we're going to talk about something very dear to my heart. I'm actually in a bad mood, merely thinking about it. You know, I had a robust conversation with Ivie and Oyiko just individually about this topic, but I think it's time for us to sit on this couch and table this matter. The role of the employer in the employee experience. This employee experience matter, my people. Is it an HR matter? Ivie, I'll start with you.
No. So I think that first of all, there's a misconception that retaining employees and making them satisfied is the job of HR. It's actually not the primary job of HR. It is the job of line managers. It is the job of the owners of the company. And there's so many factors to consider, but a lot of times it's HR's problem. Yeah, so a lot of times people say, oh, it's HR. That's the reason why people are not being retained. That's the reason why people are not happy. It is not just HR's job. Now, I know that HR, of course, will come up with the strategic initiatives and all of that to retain people. But there's a whole lot that happens behind the scene outside of HR. So I'll give an example. An employee resigns and you ask the person, why did you leave? And they say to you, oh, I had been having conversations with my line manager about needing to close an hour early because of my child, and my line manager said no, and because of that I had to weigh the options and I chose my child. And I'm thinking, what do you mean the line manager said no? HR would have figured it out, would have done something, but guess what, it never got to HR. The line manager's responsibility was to ensure that the direct reports had a great experience, and they did not. How is that then the fault of HR?
Exactly. And I don't think HR can reach everyone, right? So imagine your company has 800 people and maybe 2 HR people. The line managers are close and they're supposed to be giving that feedback, but a lot of times it's lost. And you hear people work for their managers. The times and I've stayed in different roles and enjoyed it is because of my manager.
Exactly.
So currently I have a manager who loves to enjoy life. So she allows us that flexibility to go on holiday. And I'm having a lovely experience. Like, I love putting in the extra hours if I need to, because I know she offers me that flexibility and not on my neck all the time. So really it is a lot. So while HR puts in place those policies, the managers have to create that environment.
And I think that, so beyond even managers, I think that executive management as well, owners of businesses have to be very intentional. A lot of times they are so focused on my business making money, my business achieving its goals and hiring. They never really think about how to retain the people that they've hired.
True.
Ivy, this was the trigger. And this was the reason why I sent Ivy a message at an awkward hour to rant. Because you see, dear business owners, some of us are outrightly wicked. We are wicked. Let's just say it the way it is. Because how do you explain this? You want to pay someone 100,000. Your organization is in Ikoyi. The person probably stays at Ogba. But you want this individual to come Monday to Sunday. When will the person rest? Is the person a vampire? And when the person proceeds to work with you for 2 weeks and resign, you are shocked.
What's shocking?
But wait,
What's shocking?
Even leave the rest, 100K, you come transportation in this today's economy of almost 600 per litre.
Okay, but let me play devil's advocate here. What if the company honestly cannot afford more than 100K?
Don't hire. Hire someone that is from your village next
you
door.
work sometimes. You will not split it
Sit
half and half with
behind
the
the
owner of the
counter.
business.
You can't afford to hire. If you have a business where you can't pay the person 100,000 remotely, there's no point if the person doesn't live close to the location.
I think that for me, that's really where I'm driving at, right? A lot of times, business owners don't think far. Like when you think about it, why do you need that person coming in Sunday to Sunday if you can actually create a remote function for that person?
True.
You know, and that's where humanity is missing. I think that as human beings, first of all, we are unkind to each other.
Yes.
And so when we begin to run businesses, we begin to become unkind business owners and leaders. So even for myself, right, I always think about my driver. There are some days I tell my driver, don't come to work because I can drive myself. Traffic is not so bad.
True.
Why? Because I've considered his salary and I'm thinking he can actually save money today and I will just bear it. Like, it's not a big deal. Why? Because I'm thinking about him. Do business owners think about their people? Do executive management think about their people? Do line managers think about their people? And that for me is the crux of employee experience. How the people that work with you feel every single day that they're in your establishment.
I think if you made a very valid statement here, humanity is missing. And I think Nigerian employers are particularly interesting.
So, you know, and just like if you said, let her play devil's advocate. So I do understand that a lot of them are wicked. But some employees, chai. Some are also very wicked. So when you analyze some scenarios and you sit down with business owners, you kind of see where some of it is coming from.
Yeah.
But the humanity should never be missing.
You know why I don't agree to
people,
that? I'll tell you.
Some wicked people.
I'll tell you why. If you're doing employee experience right, and you have a wicked employee, you would not think twice about firing.
Absolutely.
So,
That's the truth.
Yeah, we need
if
to
you're
think
doing
about
it right, because you would know I'm investing and pouring into my people. If this person is not giving me back value, it is easy for me to say, you know what, bye. A lot of times, organizations are afraid to fire because they know deep inside their hearts that if they fire this person, they cannot get another person that will take what that person is taking. It's selfishness.
100,000
But
from
if you are giving... Forgive them.
No, because
you know why this scenario was so painful? The lady even sent the business owner a long message.
She did.
You were verbally abusive to me. You were very mean. Even when I was sick, you made me do videos. When I sent that message to the business owner, she could not afford us the courtesy to call and say, oh, Esther, this is not, you know, even when you even give excuses for your bad behavior, she was uninterested. Yes, but when do I get a replacement? Never. I'm refunding your money.
Because that person is going to leave.
I will not be working with you. I would choose my client.
I think running my recruitment company also opened my eyes to really see the, I don't want to call it wickedness, but the selfishness in the hearts of many people. You know, I've had a particular client fire someone. So let's say she started on Monday, and she terminated her on Saturday, and she resumed like end of the month. Why did she terminate the girl? It was the end of the month. The girl had not received her salary and she had worked for like a week. And she sent a message, please, ma, sorry, I've not received my salary. How dare you?
Are you serious?
Terminate. I was so confused. So when they came to me and said they wanted a refund, I said, you lie. What did she do? Was it a performance issue?
No.
Did she not fit your culture? Said it was disrespectful to her.
Come, asking for how money.
And that's the thing. A lot of business owners were not big on respect. You feel you are doing your employees a favor.
Exactly.
So anything you say, anything you do is okay, so long as I'm the one paying their bills. And that's where the selfishness comes in from, because you're not thinking about the people that work for you. See, every company can be as successful as they want to be if they hire and retain the right people. Your business can be as big as you want it to be. You cannot run a successful business aside from the human assets of the business.
Yeah, and I think that
because you can't do everything.
Yeah, and I think it's an accountability issue when it comes to business owners in Nigeria, right? So even you hear lots of stories of people being paid late, but you see the same owner of the business flying on private jets somewhere, but they can't
booked the thing before money finished.
Yeah.
Or it was free.
Yes, perhaps.
Right. And I remember my friend's company in Canada, they had the owner of their company had said something, you know, bad, sent us an email that was a little bit racially, had that undertone, and they fired the person. because there is
Yes.
responsibility, there's accountability, there's a board. But it's missing in Nigeria, where nobody can even hold those CEOs accountable to say you don't treat people like this.
Yeah, but it starts
you
from our
don't talk
government
to people.
now. Sorry to say. Like,
So it's like, but how do
come
we
on.
now solve the issue?
No, but as HR, especially HR consultants, right? I think we need to make up our minds that it's not every money we will take.
Yes,
one is-
I
that
agree.
one
There are
is
some people
standard.
that we should blacklist. Like I've
Yes.
blacklisted a couple.
Yeah.
And if I see any other consultants, I will tell you, make sure you blacklist them.
Yeah.
Because this is wrong. So the earlier we stand up for employees, I keep saying it, we're HR people. Can we be advocates to our employees?
Yeah.
Can we just be kind?
I agree with
And don't
you.
get me wrong, to Iko's point, there are people that are doing the most called employees right now. We know everybody with their own problem. And you can't be a perfect line manager, right? There's no perfection. I have my flaws, you have your flaws, you have your
Exactly.
flaws.
Yeah.
In the midst of it, to Evie's point, let's be human, guys.
That's
We're
important,
tired.
yeah.
The things we see are making us weary. We're actually exhausted.
Exactly.
It's not different from you being verbally abused to your nanny, abusive to your nanny, to your driver. In fact, the lady in question I'm talking about, the client, Oyiko and I, we could not imagine how our domestic staff will cope. Because if you treat people in your corporate environment like this, that means you're probably beating up your nanny, you know. So it's in the little things. So business owners includes you mummies, you wives,
It
with
does.
nannies, you daddies with drivers and mummies with drivers. It's everyone. Let's do better.
I completely agree. And I also think that even for us individuals as well, you need to be a bit more intentional now about the kind of organizations you go and work with. Right? This is one of the things I absolutely love about the Gen Z workforce.
I have a good
Gen Z
story.
workforce.
like this, they've gone.
Once you say they've given it to you. And you know what? People are complaining, but you know what? That is the kind of boldness that has been
You need,
missing in
yeah.
the workforce for the longest.
Yes. I
If you
agree.
yell at a Gen Z, they would walk out of your establishment without thinking twice. You know that whole thing of at least they're paying you salary, suffer there. They don't understand it.
no.
And I absolutely love it because it's making a lot of people sit up now because you realize that abuse that you have been dishing out is no longer acceptable. But even as individuals, we also need to kind of help these business owners. Do not take abuse.
Yeah.
Do not accept a toxic workforce.
I agree.
Do not accept an organization that has policies that are stifling your growth. Don't say, at least it's paying my bills. You are creating a problem for us because sometimes business owners get to learn when from their 100 people they only have 30 people left in their workforce.
Absolutely.
That's when they get
Mass
to learn.
exit.
Yeah.
I have a good story for you guys now that Yvette brought about the Gen Z. So let me gist you people. There was this lovely Gen Z lady we sent to a client. She got there. The client called me. The client loved her. Excellent girl. Let's hire her. We gave the girl an offer. The girl said, how many of you? Going where? We're worried. Why? She said, no, I'm not taking that job. I have a first class in sociology. I'm not doing that. I know my rights. What happened? Said she got for the interview that the employer kept her waiting for 1 hour to take a call. And she was taking the call in the interview. You know, like she just walked to a corner, sorry. And she was talking. And she spent 1 hour, sorry, dear. And she continued, and she finished doing her things. They said, hey, let's continue. She was
No
like,
respect for
wow.
time.
And then the woman asked her, so we come here every day. We come to Lekki every day. And she said, oh, ma, by the way, I stay maybe Ogba. It's really far, so I can only do hybrid like my previous job. The woman said, no, here. We come every day. And to be fair, the money wasn't bad. The girl said, no, it's not about the money. I have a baby. I can't come every day. I want to see my baby at least 2 times a week.
Yeah.
Exactly.
She turned it down.
But what I love about her is that she was clear on what she would accept and what she
Yes.
would not accept. A lot of employees are just looking for the next available job, but you need to own your values. Because to be honest, Esther, if both of us went for an interview today and that happened, hell to the no.
Girl.
Like, what are you talking about? And I think that for me, it is about you as individuals also owning your own values and saying, you know what, this is unacceptable for me. Not every organization is the right organization for you.
Agreed.
And we need to be comfortable with that. The same way that not every employee is the right employee for you. And you need to think about it and say, what are the things that I can take and the things that are an absolute no for me, because you also don't want to take an offer that a month into it, you're already thinking I made a huge mistake. Like, I really applaud that candidate. Yes, the money was good, but there's so much more than money.
If you know the
You
role
know?
she got, guys.
But you got another role.
She got a role in one of the foremost in a certain sector. It was an executive assistant role for the VP. She got it. She could speak French. Guess what?
Imagine.
When she said that to me, I immediately sent that CV to a recruiter that I knew and said, find this girl a job. She's a talent.
Exactly.
They found her a solid job. Guess what about the pay? she got 300,000 more in this new role.
Imagine.
Imagine if she took that role.
And that is why
Guys.
a lot of executives also have to know that employee experience starts from hiring.
Yes.
It does not
The
start
full
from when the
process.
person comes into your organization. It starts from hiring. We all here, there are some organizations we know that no matter how much the salary is based on their brand,
You will not go
nobody
there.
is going there to
You
work.
won't.
That's an employee experience failure because we know right from the way people engage them, the way people work in that organization, we already know that this is a
Not for
no-no.
me, yeah.
You know, and even for me in the companies that I consult for, and even in my company as well, it is an ongoing conversation. Employee experience starts from the moment we begin to advertise for a role.
is.
How do you communicate the role to people? What sort of experience do people have when they come and interview with you? You know, because you know that thing of you know that thing they will say we're testing her.
It
Yeah, that
happened
one is
somewhere.
so
We'll
big.
keep her waiting
Yes.
for 4 hours. We want to hello.
Where?
No,
Testing
you
what?
were busy.
What are you even
You were
testing?
busy, you were busy.
And you know, it speaks more about you
Yes.
than the candidate, because if that is your idea of testing tenacity,
That's what it's shaking.
there's a problem.
You're shaking the person is going to go and sit there.
Somebody told the candidate, the person said, "You don't listen much, do you?" He said he was testing her.
I don't, you know, I've had this testing experience many years ago. I worked with a lady, and very strange. You know how I've always taken pictures at work. I took pictures
Yeah.
outside the office. I posted it on BlackBerry status that time.
Yes.
I just started getting insults. Do you think it was by taking pictures that I built this business? Insult. So I was a bit confused. Like, I did not steal your money. Oh. I did. This was
Why
not
you
a performance
taking
issue.
picture on her
Why am I
premises?
just taking pictures
Why?
outside the office?
Don't do that.
So I ignored her, and I didn't say anything. I didn't respond to her messages. Then she starts calling me. I'm texting you.
I'm
and you're not-
talking
and
to
I'm
you.
thinking you are insulting me. I'm not. What should I
Hey,
say?
God, dude.
You know what? That night, I made up my mind. I spoke to my mentor, and I said,
You're
"No,
leaving.
I'm not going to take it. Nobody has the right to call me names
Yeah.
for any reason." I turned on my resignation the next morning.
Bring your hand.
She reached out to me and said she had heard about me. And she wanted to test me. I said, you know what?
Thank
I'm
you for
glad
testing
that I failed the
Test
test.
your
Oh.
entire destiny and the generation.
And because for
Don't test
me,
me.
it says a lot about your values as a company.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Look, we spend majority of our time in the office.
Yeah.
We are going to be influenced by the office culture. So if you know that the kind of person you want to be is not an abusive person, you cannot operate in an abusive work
Very
culture.
true. Yeah.
Because that's who you're going to be. There are people who are abusive today because they worked with abusive bosses, and that is what
By
they have
default,
learned.
yes.
They assume that, in fact, when I started my career, I watched Ugly Betty. I wanted to be with Lepina. I don't even know for where how. But I had that
Was
whole
the
idea of
fashion.
when I drive with my driver, they'll be calling, if he has come, everybody running. So for me,
bad idea.
I
it was
understand.
such a bad idea. But I just felt like that's how they would not have arrived.
Yes.
But guess what? Because I owned it, I was intentionally cold
Yeah.
to people, and it became part of my personality. But when I
Absolutely.
really thought about it, I asked myself, Ivie, when you become a global head of HR, how do you want to be described? Do you want people to say, oh, she's good at her
The
work?
wicked
However,
one. She's too wicked.
she's wicked, people don't like to talk to her. Is that what you want to be known for? And that was when I began to work on myself. I'm not perfect, but I never forget who I want to be and how I want people to view me. I never forget the experience I want people to have working with me. And I think that for me is my biggest issues with organizations. They do not think about the experience. The question I have to every business owner watching this podcast today is, when people come and work with you, how do you want them to describe your company? How do you want them to describe you? How do you want them to describe your managers? That would influence your culture.
Very true.
And if everyone is saying the same thing about you, believe
yeah,
it
there's
too
some
at some
truth to it.
point, because it's looking like the truth. You know, perception, they say sometimes is reality.
Yes, it
Yeah.
There's someone that we've hired 5 girls for her in 1 year. None has stayed.
Yeah.
Yet she says she's a good person.
So for me, I
it's a
also
bit
think that
interesting.
sometimes it's not necessarily because you are a bad boss. It's also because you've not been intentional about the kind of organization that you want to build.
create.
Some people are kind people as human beings, but when it comes to the workforce, how is your business run? What sort of experience do people have when they work with you?
But are you also I think for me, it's also just making people, so little things like you hear things around, oh, we worked late. And then she said there's no Uber money. Okay,
So-
and even how you say there's no Uber money. You know what I mean? Maybe there's no Uber money and you can say, sorry, even me, I'm just managing myself. I can drop you some. We know what I
But
mean.
Esther, think about it.
It's
We're
a
looking at it
little
from
funny.
we're looking at it from a small business perspective, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at it in terms of a multinational.
No, you're going to work late and work late because the salary covers overhead money.
Esther,
But you have
no!
transport.
But you see, that's the issue.
No.
That's how they feel. Esther, no.
No, but if you-
somebody should
but
not
like-
close at 11 because you are paying them 20 million.
No.
Come on.
If you're even in a multinational, you should not close at 11. But what I'm saying is, if I give you a driver allowance, I also feel like in a big organization, especially at a certain salary pay point, you're responsible for your deliverables.
Yeah.
That's a personal arrangement. So I give a quick example. I've had the little boy that works with me, a younger colleague, sleep in my house twice to meet a deliverable. I did it today with deep joy. I'll do it again tomorrow. I love the place that I work. I like my pay. I like my organization. I like what we stand for.
Yeah.
It's simple. No one asked me to. But that's not going to be a habit, right? But for the guy, because I didn't think that his salary was enough for that inconvenience,
Yeah.
I made sure he was well fed. I ordered food from outside. I engaged him. We had good laughs. We gisted. And he left saying, "Oh, Miss Esther, this was really fun. I go do him again." And we laughed about it. I was a bit more partial towards him. I didn't expect that babysitting from my manager because at my level, I'm on a manager grade. Why am I being... This is a deliverable that I should manage and bring out. So I feel like you have to also... Personally, I don't think that anyone who is on a certain pay grade should be out late if the person can't get to join the staff boss with this economy.
If your company
Can
has
share a
staff
ride
boss.
or share a ride. Or, find a cheaper, safer means to get home early.
I think it's really just being more humane.
Yes.
If you know that the person can actually get the work done at home,
Let them do
please
it at
come
home.
on.
Yeah.
COVID helped us to really know that our companies could
productive,
thrive
yeah.
working remotely. There are some functions that, yes, absolutely, you need them in the office, but there are functions that really they do not need to be in the office, and you need to be empathetic to that. Even in my team, it's the same conversation I have with them. I'm saying if you text me and you say, "Sorry, ma'am, can I work from home today?" I'm like, "Hey, I don't care." My own is a bit metro delivery. Like, what am I seeing your face to do? After I admire you at work, what next? But a lot of and I get it from the business owner's perspective. Like the company I work for, we do not do remotes. It's not a conversation that executive management is interested in. But you know what? Because I'm a business owner, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
The workforce has to kind of prove that they can be trusted if they work remotely.
True.
A lot of times it is our own
Maturity.
colleagues that give us this problem.
Yes.
All of us will be aligning.
ground.
Yes.
One person
We'll be in the market.
will just come that day. That's the day.
Agile market.
Why did you not meet the day? I did not have lights. My generator did not come on. They will tell you when they come to the office. So I kind of understand. But again, that's why what is important to you is important to you.
Yes, it is.
In my company now, one thing I will say for sure, our company is not for everybody.
It is. Yeah.
Well, okay, but we say to that full chest, you don't have to
Absolutely.
work with us. We're fine. But if you're coming to work with us, it's not remote.
Yeah.
And that's what my company stands
That's what
for
it
as
is.
well.
Now, it doesn't mean that the organization is not now saying, what other ways can we make employee experience better? Yes, we cannot do it with remote work. But are there other things
Absolutely.
that we do that make up for that? That, for me, is the question. Every organization has to pick what they're going to be big on. There are some organizations that are big on work-life balance.
Yes.
They can fail in everything else, but that
But
work-life
that
balance,
work-
give it to them. There's some organizations that will say, you know what, work-life balance, not really. But when it comes to rewards, come
we're
on.
Your bonuses
want-
will hear from us.
I love when I speak to HR people and they're telling me that my company has said that they want to be the top paying in the
Yeah,
sector.
on the
my
center,
God.
absolutely.
Yes.
100 at the 100
But you know
point.
what? They don't mind if you're sleeping 11 o'clock. It's okay.
But again, there's a
number
kind of
one.
money that you could also be offered that will make you not want to sleep, and that's also okay. So to your point, I think it's also a personal choice. But for me, I'm against minimum wage, maximum delivery. You want someone in 100,000 to also go home on someone on $80,000 in Nigeria. Get serious. And they should all be careful because, they will jackpot the Gen Zs.
They're already
They
going.
will, they will leave you
already
people.
going.
And you people will now be hiring elderly people to do sales girl for you. And that person won't collect 150K. So be kind.
Yeah, and
Pet them.
I agree with you, and I think you know what, my recommendation to line managers and business owners is if you consider things from the place of love, you would treat the people that work with you differently. Because if your goal is I want to show love to this person, even with the structures you put in place, it will be love oriented. I know some organizations that they don't pay so well, but when it comes to having a crèche, they consider that for their people. There are organizations that would say, you know what, we know that we walk our people round the clock. but we'll give them more leave
That's
days.
support, yeah.
30 days in a year.
Yeah.
It comes from a place of love and kindness. We are first human beings before we owned organizations. Sometimes we forget that the people that work with us are not robots. They're human beings. They have emotions. They have family issues they are dealing with. Some of them don't have children and they're dealing with loss. They're dealing with grief. But you come to work every day and all you are expecting of them is the deliverable. They are human beings. I had a line manager that I absolutely loved. When she resigned, I had panic attacks. My husband had to ask why people dating. Because the way you are feeling, but why? Because she was like my covering. I felt I could do anything in this world when it came to work because she was my covering. So when she left, I felt like that blanket had been taken off me. And one thing I knew for sure, I was never going to resign so long as she works in that company. Because how do you walk away from your covering?
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I was doing my job, but she empowered me in such a beautiful way. I knew that, man, I could do anything. I could grow. I never had that sense of somebody trying to take. No, it was beautiful, and I realized that it's because she operated from a place of love.
I love it, from a place of love. Before we go, let's each shout out a manager or a business owner that you've encountered that has really been an inspiration to you. So someone from your personal journey. And I'll start quickly. Shout out to Nkoye Ogbe. You're an amazing star. Nkoye was my manager when I worked in the financial sector. And she was my manager for about 3 years. And I'll share with you something she did that forever sticks in my memory. I've been very open about my fertility journey, and I had waited 7 years to have my daughter, but I met Nkoye around the second, third year mark. And she bought me this journal with the mom. It was a birthday gift. And she writes to me, because I see a daughter in your future. That dream or vision or prophecy came to pass much later. But I remember the day she gave to me that journal to me. It's been the best gift of my life. It was so uplifting. It was so powerful. And so to the point of, she's not the most emotional person. She's not the most lovey-dovey person, but she felt that that was a gift in season that she knew I could do with.
And it was not an expensive gift.
At
So it's
all.
not money.
Yeah.
It's not money.
It's not money.
Love and kindness.
And
Like
that
I see
care.
you, I understand you, I know what you're going through. If you share with us.
Okay, so I will shout out two people. First is Osayi Alile. Hi,
Aw.
Mama. I worked with her in 2017, and my entire journey in speaking engagements and all of that started because of her. She would literally be recommending me, and I'm thinking, you're my boss, you're supposed to be the one saying you have deliverables, but no, she would recommend me. She would put my name up. When I had speaking engagements, I could leave the office to go for speaking engagements and come back. She literally gave me the support that I needed to really kick off, and I love you. I appreciate you. And the second is Koinsola Mba. She was my most recent line manager who left, and she knows, I tell her all the time that my career journey changed completely because of her. She was that line manager that I knew that I could trust. I've been on personal journeys that I knew she was hand-holding me. So it was beyond just work. It was knowing that in my personal life, in my work life, I had that person solidly behind me. And if I could be half the manager that she was to me, I'll be the best manager anybody could have.
Aw.
Wow. Yeah, I'm almost crying.
I think I'll shout out two as well. And the first is my present manager, which is Angie. She's in Guyana, all the way in Guyana. But she shows you work-life balance, and she shows real care, right? So she's not looking for you, oh, are you here at 8? Are you there at 10? She allows you that flexibility, and she also believes in you, and she just gives you your job. She empowers you to do it, right? So if, for instance, someone will come to complain, she will still send them back to you. So she's like empowering you to really do it, and she believes in you, and she supports you through it. Like, what do you want to do next? Let's walk through it together. And then Rosetta, Ibitoye Ogara, and it's my first manager, and she just believed that I could do it. I remember at the time people would come in a fast track program, kind of like a management training, and I didn't come in that. But she's like, no, you can do it. And I even grew faster than they did. So she just saw beyond what I could see, and really cared and carried me along that journey, and that has kind of made me who I am.
Wow.
So that's good.
Wow. Yeah, this is emotional. But shout out to all the great bosses, great business empires.
Yes.
Let's do better. We know better. Let's not be shy to be human. More love. All that good stuff. And I think the world and the workplace will generally be a better place. Bye, everyone.
So bye. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, YouTube,
Everything she
and,
said.
and all the other channels. HR Breakout Room. We love you. Bye.
Bye.